Hey, this is Jeff Nelson, former New York Yankee, four-time world champion. Hey, listen to my buddy Eddie Matas, all his platforms. He's a great interviewer. He's got a lot of great humor, a lot of great knowledge. I've known him for a long time now. Good actor as well. Don't let him know that. But anywhere you can find his platforms, listen to him, man. He's a great guy.
And here we have it, the man of the hour. He played in the big leagues for 15 years, and he's a four-time World Series champion. And holy shit, I did enjoy those dynasty years. Please welcome bullpen pitcher Jeff Nelson in the house, baby. How are you?
What's going on, Eddie? Man, I'm good. I'm real good. I just had two golf tournaments these past 2 days. I played in this one yesterday called for Cool in the Gang. Cool in the Gang. Chris Tucker was there. It was O.J. Anderson. A lot of football players. Sister Sledge. Probably one of the best ones, or probably the best time I had out of any tournament that I've ever played in.
Wow, Jeff, let me ask you this: what's your handicap, man?
That's a 5. I do all right.
5?
Yeah, I do a lot. Heck, I'm retired. Well, not totally retired, but, I get out there on occasion.
Oh, listen, I'm really impressed with the 5. I used to...
You play?
You know what I did, Jeff, when I graduated from college, right? I went to Nantucket Golf Club, and I was a caddy, right? So I never played golf, right? So they were like, oh, what's your handicap? 4. Oh, wow, you must be a good golfer and a good caddy. Yeah, but, but I wasn't. Wow, I'm impressed. So, Jeff, let me ask you this. We're going to turn back the clock. When did you grow? Were you 13 years old, 6'5" already? How did it happen?
Oh, no. I didn't grow until out of high school. I was 6'2" when I graduated and 175 pounds. So I grew all the way until I was 21, and then I was 6'6". Probably 21, I got to be. That's when I stopped growing.
Oh, wow. So until 21 years old.
Yeah.
And when you were in high school, were you the man? You know what I mean? Were you wow, there goes Jeff Nelson. He's no joke. He could pitch.
Well, you played everywhere. I didn't really like pitching when I played. I wanted to get dirty. It was no fun coming home with a clean uniform, man. You had to make mom and dad wash the uniform. So, you played short, you played outfield. Pitching I did, but, I'd rather get dirty. I caught, did everything. Pitching, you never got dirty. And that didn't dive, didn't slide, none of that stuff.
But did you, were you a threat? You know what I'm saying? Were you the man in high school?
I guess. I was pretty good in most everything, but I guess. It was, I didn't consider myself or think of myself as a great player or one of the better players. I just love playing the game. I never really thought about it.
But were you a prospect? Were scouts looking at you?
Yeah, I got drafted out of high school. I was drafted at 17 years old. So my parents had to sign for me because I was under 18. So yeah, I was scouted actually by the Mets in the 11th grade. And, then they thought I was a senior then, and then I still had one more year of high school. And then, the Dodgers took me in the draft right out of high school.
So you were the 22nd round?
Yes, 22nd round.
And in that, but the expectations weren't the top 5 rounds? You weren't thinking like that?
No, because, back then the money wasn't as great as it is now. So it didn't matter what really round you were getting drafted. I think maybe the first round pick back in my year might have got $100,000, $500,000. It wasn't that much money. It was for then, but not compared to now. And it didn't matter. You got just as much chance to get to the big leagues as the first rounder. Now it's a little bit different. They're throwing $7, $8 million at these first round picks, and they're pretty much going to be in the big leagues at some point. They invest so much money, but it was different then. So the 22nd round. Well, now it's only 20 rounds, so hopefully it'll change. But the 22nd round nowadays, you probably wouldn't make it. You look at what was it? Piazza was a 45th round.
No, actually higher. He was in the 60s.
He might have been. Yeah, there you go. So you're losing. I think you're losing the Mike Piazzas of the draft by shortening it. But nowadays, the top 10 guys, top 10 draft, top 10 rounds, and they wind up getting to the big leagues only because they invest so much money in them.
Yeah. In 84, when you got drafted in 84, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so in 1984, when did you get that call? What year? You got the call to the big leagues?
Yeah, 1992. So that was my first year. I went to winter ball in 91 in Puerto Rico, and I started my whole career, all in the minor leagues. I spent 7.5 years in the minor leagues. So I was a starter, and then the last year and a half, they came to me and asked me if I wanted to be a closer. It was better. I said, you know what, you're not going anywhere as a starter, basically. Let's try to put you in the bullpen. So the whole second half of the 90 season, I wound up closing out games, and then I came back in 91 and led the organization in saves. I was in AA and AAA. I went to winter ball in Puerto Rico, and then I came to spring training in 92, and I made the team. So it's almost, I look back, so why didn't he make me a reliever sooner? Maybe I could have got there quicker, but it all worked out. I love being in the bullpen and pitching in the crucial situations, but it did. It worked out a little bit as far as me switching from starter to reliever.
Jeff, but after 4 years, did you have doubts? Like, oh my God, again, I'm in the minor leagues, right? I mean, did you have doubts of making it?
Well, I mean, you always did, because I signed when I was 17, and luckily, when I got drafted, I threw only 82 miles an hour, so I didn't throw very hard when the Dodgers took me, and I was only 6'2", like I said. So once I started growing, then all of a sudden I started increasing speed, and by 21, I was probably throwing 93, 94. And, after a while, you're wondering, okay, you have some good starts, and all of a sudden you don't have good starts. And you're wondering, okay, is it time for me to give it up, or is it time for me to go somewhere else, or think about another job? But after they made me a reliever, then it was just a matter of time of, okay, when am I going to get there? Because I know I can pitch there. I went to big league camp. I know I can get these guys out. It's just a matter of, okay, when will they take me? When will they have me at the big league level?
Did you? So I'm looking back. It was with the Dodgers, but how'd you get involved with Seattle?
I got Rule 5, the minor league Rule 5. So it wasn't a big league Rule 5 like they have, but they do have minor league Rule 5. So it doesn't mean I had to be in the big leagues. It's just like the Mariners got me off of I think it was the AA roster with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So that's how I got to become a Mariner.
Okay. So where were you when you got the call and said, Jeff, you're going up?
Yeah, I was in Calgary because I didn't break in '92. I didn't break with the team, so we started the AAA. The AAA started before the big leagues did. So I closed out the very first game, and all of a sudden, then I think the main team, Seattle, was in Milwaukee, and their first game was our second game. So I guess somebody got hurt in workouts, or I don't know what happened, but there was a save situation again in AAA, so I'm waiting. I'm ready to go up. Okay, when are they going to call me down, or when are they going to get me up to warm up for the ninth inning? And I didn't go in. So I was wondering, I said, man, I just closed out a game. And back then, they didn't care how many days in a row you threw. You always threw 2 or 3 days in a row. That's just the way it was. Right. So when I went into the locker room, I didn't say anything because I had no clue, but the manager called me in. The pitching coach was there. And I think the manager was Keith Bodie. Wound up calling me in the office and said, hey, somebody got hurt, and I forgot who it was. They said, you're going to the big leagues. And it was the first time. I spent 7 years in the minor leagues, and I finally get the call. And I only missed that one game in Milwaukee. So I went to Milwaukee, got the last 2 games there, and then went to Chicago, and that's where I made my opening day or my big league appearance.
Did you, were your parents there?
No, I called them right away. And obviously they were thrilled, but no, they didn't go. They I think they may have watched it on TV, but the White Sox, facing those guys for the first time, I wound up pitching 2 innings.
Wow. Did you feel comfortable? Or it was like you had to be nervous, right? I mean, come on, that's normal.
Well, you're nervous after the 15th year in the big league. I mean, you always have a little butterflies, and you always have little shaky knees every once in a while. You're coming into tight situations. You always get that, But the feeling's not, I'm scared, or I don't want to be here, or should I be here? You start questioning yourself. It's more of, hey, I do belong here, and okay, I'm looking at these guys. I remember facing Frank Thomas for the first time. I think I stepped off the mound. I was like, I've never seen anybody in AAA as big as this guy. So it was like, okay, here we are, and they had the sound meter back then. with the White Sox, they always got good crowds back in '92. So, there's probably 35, 40,000 fans. I pitched the 7th and the 8th inning. We were losing the game, but I came in when we were already losing. We almost came back, almost got my first win then. But, no, it was a thrill. I knew I was ready, and I got lucky because the pitching coach, who was Dan Worthen, then they came up to me and said, listen, we didn't have a good year. We lost 98 games. And they said, just relax. You're going to be here the whole year. You don't have to worry about going down. We just want you to pitch and pitch at the level that we think you can. And that was easy. You usually don't get that. Usually guys come up, and if the saying is, it's easy to get there, it's harder to stay. And that's the truth. You get the elevator shaft all the time now with minor league guys. And, I got lucky that they came and said, hey, you're going to be here. Don't worry about going up and down. You mess up, don't be looking over your shoulder because you're still going to be here the next day.
Wow. Ken Griffey Jr., what was it like playing with, first of all, they had a team, man, right? When you were there?
Yeah, we didn't have the pitching staff. I mean, we had Randy Johnson and we had some guys. You had Ken Griffey Jr. I played with him in the minor leagues. I played with him in 1988, his maybe second year in the minor leagues. He was the best player I've ever seen. The most talented I've ever seen. He just had a gift. He loved the game. He always smiled all the time. He was an incredible defender. And then I went to the big leagues, and finally he was my teammate again in '92. This guy, he didn't care who pitched. He didn't need scouting reports. He didn't need to go out and shag flies, and he was still the best athlete on the field and still probably one of the most feared hitters in the game. I mean, he was incredible. I mean, he by far the best player I have ever seen.
That swing was amazing.
It was.
Oh, God.
I mean, you look at the back of the baseball pants where they have that little figure. That's Ken Griffey Jr., the one with the swing. I mean, it's just the most natural swing that I've ever seen from the left side.
Out of all the lefties, right? And you play with a lot of great lefty.
Yeah, the one that lefties always seem to have so much better swings than right-handers. I don't know what it is. Just their finish, their follow-through. Rafael Palmeiro had just a nice, easy swing, and really, he was another guy that I was like, oh, wow, this guy can, just really picture perfect. Ohtani kind of the same way. Ohtani's got a really nice swing.
Lightning hands, man. Lightning.
Yeah. Quick.
And did you listen, as a bullpen pitcher, right? I mean, people say, these guys just chill for like 7 innings, but you guys really have to pay attention, right, out there?
I guess, kind of. That's one of the things I was glad that I was out in the bullpen and away from if you lose a game and you're sitting on the bench, I mean, at least if we're losing a game and we're getting our butts beat out there, nobody sees us. We can still laugh and tell stories and do whatever. But you paid attention in the sense that you knew what was going on, but at the same time, it was tough. For the first 5 innings, we kind of did our own thing. Either practical jokes, we laughed, did whatever, played some games down there. I mean, we knew what was going on. But at the same time, it wasn't like, we're locked in totally. We got locked in after the 5th inning, especially when it was close.
Okay.
When we knew maybe when it was time for us to pitch, we're looking up on the scoreboard and said, okay, I might get this guy in the 7th inning if the lineup starts turning around. So really not until after the 5th or 6th inning did you really start locking in.
Nelly, will you guys shoot the shit like just a bunch of guys hanging out? It's like you're
almost like at a bar. Yeah, like at a bar. Just sitting around. Not really talking about the game, talking about maybe what you did in the off season, what you did during the day, what are you going to do tonight? I mean, it just you're talking everything except baseball. I mean, it's just it gets so monotonous. And I mean, if you sat there and concentrated and you're not in the game, I don't know how guys do it. We never did it. We had great bullpens and we screwed around and played practical jokes on each other, light guys on fire. Or do whatever. I mean, we had a great time. Mess with our bullpen coach. We did whatever we could just to lighten it up down there. And then, that's one of the reasons we had so much success because, we didn't take everything so serious until maybe after the 5th inning.
And was your manager Lou Piniella at the time?
Yeah, I had Lou. Yeah, my first year was Bill Plummer, and then Lou came in '93.
Give me the difference between Lou and Joe Torre. What's the difference between those two?
Well, New York City and Seattle. That's about Lou, I always credit Lou now. Every time I see him, I said, you know what? You're the reason why I had so much success in New York. He was, in some ways, he was tough to play for. He expected a lot out of you. The expectation level say, listen, you're a big league player. I expect this. Not perfection all the time, but pretty much perfection. And he came from the Billy Martin School of Managing. I mean, he was, he wore his feelings on his sleeve. You didn't want to mess up because, it doesn't show you up, but he would test you in ways that maybe a lot of guys couldn't take, and maybe they weren't built to be in the big leagues. I loved playing for him. I had to have thick skin. He put me in every single situation. Did I mess up on occasion? Yeah. Did he let me have it on occasion? Yeah, but I learned from that. I took it in a way that, listen, he's trying to get the best out of me. And he did. And that's why when I came to New York, I played for the toughest manager, and I loved it. I thought Lou was the toughest manager. And then you come to New York, and you had to deal with the media. You had to deal with the fans and a lot of, the expectations, Mr. Steinbrenner. So that's where Joe Torre came in, that he was the nice laid-back manager. Again, if he had something to say, he would call you in his office. But he took that media. He really, I thought, took his best asset was he took the pressures off of the players as far as took the media level away. Didn't have Mr. Steinbrenner down in the clubhouse barking at guys if they weren't doing well. And he always had his guys. He knew, okay, this guy is going to get me outs in the 7th. This guy's going to get me outs in the 8th. He never had a doghouse. Yes, we had great teams. But at the same time, he made it easier to play here.
Right. And also, he started that bullpen style, let the starter go 6, 7, and just put the guys in 8, 9, specialty against righties or lefty. He pretty much took advantage of that, right? You agree?
Yeah, I do. And you know what? You look at bullpens, and even bullpens when I played, when you have great starters, you wind up having great bullpens. If you have starters, and we had great starters. We had starters that are giving us 6, 7 innings, sometimes 8 innings. Sometimes they'll mix in a complete game. So we had guys that always went deep into the game. And all we had to worry about is maybe 6 outs, maybe 9 outs. Never had to worry about more than 9 outs on most nights. So that's easy. Or easier as far as coming into a game when it's tight, knowing that, our starter just gave us 6 or our starter just gave us 7. Very rarely did they ever get their butts kicked and knocked out of the game. So, that made our bullpen a lot stronger. When you're always, we had maybe 3 or 4 guys deep down there. So we never really got exposed because we didn't have the 5th guy or the 6th guy always coming in to mop up guys. That's what made us strong. Our starters were so good.
Jeff, in 90, well, actually, it was you, Tino, and Graham Lloyd, right? You guys came over to New York. It was over the wintertime in 95. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was just me. It was Tino and I and Jim Messier. Graham got traded over in 96 in the midseason with Pat Listash.
That's right. Yeah, sorry. I thought you and Graham came from Seattle, too. Okay, so you guys, so it was you and Tino. You got the call, and they're like, hey, look, you're going to New York. Were you like, damn, we just busted their ass in 95, right? And you're like, now I'm joining them?
Yeah, the funny thing of it is, in New York, that was always one of my favorite places to play. I just loved the craziness of the fans. It was so much fun coming to the Yankee Stadium as a visitor. I was actually, because when I lived in Seattle when I played out there, so the rumors in the paper after 95, there was me, Tino, and Mike Blowers were all eligible for arbitration, and they came out and said, okay, we're only going to be able to keep, we can't keep all 3. One will probably have to go, and then we'll keep the other 2. Well, Mike Blowers got traded to the Dodgers right away. So Tino and I were thinking, okay, we're coming back. And I always did Mariner Caravan. So out in Seattle, their fan demographic expanded to multiple states. Idaho, Portland, Oregon. You went to Vancouver in Canada. You would go all over the different islands over in Washington. And they also went to Alaska. So the fan demographic was really, really wide. So I never went to Alaska, and I said, I want to go. I went everywhere else. So Dan Wilson and I went on the Mariner Caravan, I think it was in November. We went to Alaska. So I actually got traded while I was on the Mariner Caravan and I finished up the last day in the caravan as a Yankee. So, I was in Juneau, the capital. Next thing you know, I get a call from Bob Watson and said, "Hey, we just traded for you and Tino." And I was sitting in my room. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And then all of a sudden, Woody Woodward, the Seattle GM, called me as well and said, "Hey, just want to say, hey, thanks for everything." And so I'm sitting in my room. I'm like, "Listen," I told Bob Watson, I said, "I'm in a Mariner caravan." I said, "Is it okay if I complete the caravan because I'm in Alaska so far away?" He goes, "Oh yeah, do whatever." So I was a Yankee. I came the next day and I told Dan Wilson and everybody got traded. They couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So I was a Yankee finishing up the Mariner caravan in 90, going into the 96 season.
Wow. I'm doing a test right now. Can you hear me very well? Because people are saying, turn up your volume on your side. Nelly is fine. Yours is low. Guys, please comment and tell me if I'm good.
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Oh, okay. Okay, so in 96, you come to New York, right? Where did you live?
Well, I didn't live in the city, so I had my family with me. So we lived up in Westchester. First year, I think we lived in Rye, and right by Rye Playland. And then after that, we lived in Armonk. So we came into town and came into Yankee Stadium at probably better times, besides you never hit work traffic. You're coming in around 2, and then you're not leaving until about 11 or 12. So you're never really hitting that New York traffic on the Deegan.
Jeff, did you lift weights before the game or after the game, or you didn't lift weights?
I always did before. Yeah, I was a big guy I was a big weight room guy, and I never really took days off. It kind of gave me that mental edge that when I was in the weight room and I felt good after coming out, but it was always before the game.
At what point of the season in 96, because I remember Peter Gammons predicted you guys to be in 4th place that year, and I was like, huh?
Yeah.
So when did you feel like, you know what? We have a squad, man. We have a shot for October.
I think we knew, breaking camp, we knew we were good. We never paid attention to any of the, preseason, where you're going to finish and any of that stuff. We knew we had a good team, and we had a great bullpen. We had, Mariano Rivera was down there, myself. You had John Wetland as a closer. Bob Wickman was down there as well in 96. And then you look at the lineup. It was incredible, offensively, defensively. So we knew we had a good team. Baseball was different then. I think it was a lot tougher to pitch in the big leagues. You had better hitters, I think, than you do now. But, we always knew we had a good team. It was just a matter of putting it together.
So throughout the whole season, now you hit October, right, Jeff? But, you're still young. What are you, 25 at the time in 96?
I think I might have been 28, 29 maybe.
29, all right. So you're in your prime, man. Did you guys go out with the ball players? Did you you had to. Come on now. These are your brothers.
Oh, yeah. That was a nice thing. So Yankee Stadium, the locker rooms were always small. And you had 15 to 25, 30 media members that were covering you on a daily basis all the time. So there was really no place to move or no place to, shoot the shit with the guys. Mm-hmm. So we did it all on the road. And we would have 10 to 15 guys go to dinner. Everybody, if we went out to a bar after the game, we would wind up meeting up we'd have 10, 15 guys meet up somewhere. And that's how close we are. We had a really close-knit team. It was hard to tell at home, because you was really nowhere to move, and plus everybody was going with their families. But on the road, that's when you kind of bond. That's where you're eating dinner with everybody, or you're having lunch with guys, or going to have a beer or so after.
So, with 15 guys, who will put down the credit card? Was it Russian roulette?
Well, it definitely wasn't me. It was the guys that had a lot more time than I was. So, I said, okay, I'll contribute every now and then. But it definitely wasn't me.
Oh, okay. but on the road, when did fans, baseball fans, I feel like fans in the 90s really recognize opposing players more than now. Because if you have a bullpen pitcher, let's say from the Angels, I don't think a person will recognize that guy unless he's like, holy shit.
Yeah, obviously the superstars get recognized, but when you're playing in New York, you're pretty much on TV all the time. And, we never really had day-game getaway days because most of the time on the road that everybody loved having that good gate at nighttime. They wanted the night game. so we were always getting in at all kinds of hours. But we were playing in New York's a little bit different than everywhere else, because you're winning all the time. So and the fan base in New York was incredible. You have a lot of passionate fans, a lot of smart fans, and a lot of great Yankee fans that know every single player. So it's a little bit easier when you're playing in New York. When I was in Seattle, maybe it was a little bit different. You could walk around and really not get noticed. I mean, I'm 6'6", so when somebody walks by, I even do it when I see a tall person. I start, doing a double take and say, okay, did he do something? Did he play some kind of sport? So you're always doing that, I think. But in New York, everybody knows, from the 25th guy to the superstar.
I want to know, where'd you guys party after the '96 World Series? I mean, that was a huge win. Okay, here you guys are celebrating right there. You got Paul O'Neill on top of everybody, the dog pile. Where'd you go afterwards?
Well, we had Tino Martinez's grandfather owned this big cigar company in Tampa.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. So they actually rented out the bottom. I think it was a big ballroom at the Plaza. So we had everybody's family, wherever. We all went to the Plaza. We were there till like 6 a.m, I think.
The Plaza, which one? Right there on 5th?
Plaza in the city. Yeah, right on 5th Avenue. What was that, 59th or 60th, whatever.
Oh, okay. Right across the street from Central Park.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Now, was it like packed, like outsiders too, or it was just you guys?
Just family. Yeah, it was just family. It was just the team and then the family. And I think everybody was there. I mean, the whole team was there, whole coaching staff, everybody's family, the kids. I had one, my oldest was there, and she was just barely over 1. And she was just sleeping in the stroller. Say, okay, hey, enjoy this. And we had a great time. I mean, it was something. We actually went back. I think, 98 we won in
San Diego.
I think 99 we won at home. So we did the same thing in 99.
Oh, okay. What was I about to say? In 96, Jeff, when you guys were down 0-2, and then Game 4 you were down 6-0. Be honest with me. Did you have doubts like, this shit's a wrap, we're done?
No, I don't think so. Because there's again, this is an asset to Joe Torre. I remember, I don't know who it was, after it was the first game in Atlanta, and after we were down 0-2, and the Patriots were saying, okay, get us another American League team. The Yankees don't belong here. I forgot who it was, but they said, oh, you guys don't have a chance. And I'm like, yeah, I think we do. And I even think that Joe Torre went to George Steinbrenner and said, we're going to win 4 in a row here. And obviously we did, but he had that kind of confidence in us. And I think we had the same thing. I mean, that's why I don't like interleague play. I mean, that was when we played Atlanta, we had no idea about them. I mean, we didn't play them during the regular season. And it was nice seeing a National League team and watching Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz. I mean, those guys were amazing. I mean, holy crap. I mean, Greg Maddox was incredible to watch. And I'm like, all right, we're going to have to, it's going to be a tough road. I mean, we have a lot, we're going to have to try to buckle down. But we had a good team, and Joe Torre had enough confidence in us, and we'd have meetings before the game, and you walk out of there with your head up, with your head high, saying, you know what, we're going to win today, and, no matter what happens. And that's what happened during the year. We never really felt like we're out of any game. Right. If we were behind late in the innings, it always seemed like we came back, and somebody was getting a big hit. A lot of times it was Derek Jeter. It seemed like he was getting the big hit all the time late in the game that year.
But he was always on base, and then Bernie Williams would drive him in.
Yeah. Yeah, it was something. I mean, we had so many. I mean, clutch is hard, cliche, but we had so many clutch hits, big time hits late in the ball game. And, we just made sure, hey, keep the other team where they are as a bullpen or as a starting staff, and we're going to come back. And that's the way we felt. Even in the World Series, that's the way we felt.
What about that Game 5 with Pettit versus Smoltz? Holy shit! What a pitching! Oh my God! Were you guys in the bullpen like nervous? It was like, oh my God, this is crazy. It's tight.
No. Oh, You go a little insane down there. It's easier to pitch. I mean, it's tougher to watch, but well, it was just great baseball. And we went to Atlanta, and their fans. There's no more intimidating fans than New York fans. Right. So everywhere we went on the road or World Series, playoff time, whatever, we already played in the toughest part. We already played in front of the most passionate fans, and sometimes they can get tough as well. So we went down to Atlanta. It was like almost a home game. That tomahawk chop and all that stuff. We're like, whatever. I mean, nothing was intimidating. And then they actually cheered some of us. It was. Yeah. I was like, what's this? You're supposed to cheer the Braves, not the Yankees. But
right.
It was so many good games. Even when we lost the first two. Look, when we lost the first two, I think that was the oh shit moment. We're like, oh my god, we just got our butts kicked.
Yeah.
This is not supposed to happen.
That 96, I'll tell you, because me being a diehard Yankee fan, they haven't won it since '78, and I was only 3 at the time. I don't remember that. And then you just keep going, and you wanted Don Mattingly to get involved, but he didn't. He left the year before. But now you guys are the bomb, right? The following day, after you guys partied until 6 a.m., did you guys? Was the parade the next day?
Yeah, the parade was the next day. They had it really fast. It was always. It was always 2 days or a day after we clinched. So they got the city ready. If it wasn't the next day, if it wasn't that next day when we woke up at 6 a.m., it was probably the following day. It was probably 2 days after we won. Get the city ready. And there's nothing like a parade in New York. It was unbelievable.
It was loud, right?
Yeah. You have what? I don't know how many millions of fans, or it seemed like millions of fans.
We were desperate for a championship. Are you kidding me? The opportunity was there. What? So now 97, you come back. Now, wherever you go, people know who Jeff Nelson is, right? In the city, in New York, was it like, oh my God, Jeff Nelson, can I get a, I don't know, they didn't have cell phones back then with pick cameras, right? But if they had their portable camera, they'll probably buy one real quick. Can I get a picture with you, right?
Yeah, it was fun. It's more so now because they look back and there's a lot of fans that remember those days, and obviously it hasn't happened in a long time. But it was nice. It's always special to come back to New York and get recognized. There was some times I'd fail. There's some times that the fans would give it to me, but for the most part, it was by far the best place to play. And getting recognized and taking a picture, signing an autograph, doing whatever. I talk to everyone, so it doesn't matter.
Jeff, has it ever happened, you're hanging out at the bar, right? On the road or home, right? And there's an ESPN highlight of you, or there's a rerun, and people are like, isn't that you on TV right now? Did that ever happen?
Yeah, sometimes, it's funny. My daughter was on a date down in Florida, and next thing you know, I think they either had a Yankee Classic on, and she looks up on the TV, and I'm pitching. So those were the funny things. And then during the pandemic, it seemed like, or even last year when everything was shut down and they had that 60-game season, they were always showing Yankee Classics, and it seemed like it was always either 96, 98, 99, or 2000. So, I'd stick around. I'd hurry up and look at the box score to make sure I did okay, because if I didn't do okay that game, I'm not watching. I didn't need to see myself get shelled. So, if I did okay, I'd stick around until I pitched, and then I'd go out or turn it off.
Right, but I'm just saying, let's say, when you were playing, right, and you're hanging out with your teammates, you're at a lounge or a bar, and there's, ESPN showing highlights.
Yeah.
And they're like,
no, I've never had that. I never had it, but it happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah. So, 97, you come back. You guys are like, we want to repeat. That's your number one mission, right?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. New York, you can't get complacent, and there's no, hey, we won one, let's get happy, and, whatever happens the next year happens. No, when you win one, you were expected to win multiple, or at least get there every single year. The feeling's still the same, they just haven't done it.
That pitch that Mariano threw, did it cut, or he just left it up in the zone and Sandy just said, see ya?
Yeah, left it up in the zone, and, Mo was so good, and that was his first year as a closer, a full-time closer, because we didn't have Wetland. Wetland didn't come back. I think it was a surprise to everyone. We thought, hey, we're going to go past Cleveland and get into the ALCS, and then hopefully go to the World Series again. We got shocked. It was surprising that Mo gave it up, and and gave up that home run. But stuff happens.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. It didn't get to his head, because
no
Wohlers, it got to his head. It wasn't the same.
That's what made Mo, and I think, out of anybody or learning from him, he had and you have to, as a reliever, you got to have a short memory. You got to, if you don't do well, you got to really put it behind you as quick as possible. Yes, he had the whole winter to think about it, but I don't think he did. I don't think he thought too much of it. I mean, it's like, you know what, I hung the pitch or didn't throw a good pitch, and he hit the ball out, and, we didn't go to the playoffs. I'm sure he feels as bad just as everybody else, but he came back the next year, and look what we did in '98. I mean, this guy was dominant. He's the best closer ever. Yeah. But that was something that was so good about Mo, that he just had such a short memory, and nothing ever bothered him. I mean, you didn't know if he had a good game or a bad game, and then that's always great to see.
So a good friend of mine, Artie Schmidt, says, who was your favorite teammate? I'm sure everyone was your favorite, but who was your best guy that you would always hang out with, phone calls, whatever, and just go out with him?
Well, there's a lot of guys we went out with. Usually a lot of the bullpen guys stayed together. My favorite, there's I'm playing in New York, there were so many. Tim Raines probably was one of my favorite teammates, only because he seemed like he never had a bad day. He laughed at everything. He would laugh at if he went 0 for 4, but he was, he would get on you. You could get on him. I had so many great teammates, but if anybody, maybe Tim Raines might be the best one.
Wow, Timmy, man, what a great ball player.
Yeah.
What a great guy. He had a really nice smile. I remember him, man. But in '98, Strawberry was diagnosed with colon cancer towards the end, right. So he couldn't play in October. Right. How was the clubhouse when they found out that he's got colon cancer and he can't play?
Yeah, I think we might have been in Texas. We were starting maybe the ALCS or ALDS, the division series against the Rangers, and that's when everybody found out. So it always seemed like we rallied around guys, and we said, okay, let's win this one for Straw. And he was such a big asset to the team that year, and even in '96 and '97. And what a great teammate he is. He was, and still, he's a great guy. Every time I see him, I'm thrilled to see the guy. I mean, he's that great of a human being. But he just rallied around. I mean, we had a meeting. I think it was right before batting practice, or maybe even before the workout day. I mean, right on the workout day, and we found that out. And obviously, you text him, or I don't even know if we had phones back then to text, but we gave him our prayers and know that, hey, we were behind him and we're going to do it for him. So it's something, maybe that little edge to go out and something to play for.
Yeah, and you guys put his number on your hats. I remember.
39. Yeah, we did, and we also had I think a band, like a black band or something around our uniform.
And then I was surprised. Jim Lehretz, he was on San Diego. He put 39 on his hat too, out of respect.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That means a lot. I guess that's a testament to what kind of person Strawberry was. About if other people around the league are doing, and especially ex-teammates, then this guy is a great person.
All right, so now here's the story I want. You told me this in fantasy camp. I want my viewers. Yeah. We all know, we all going to go to the fight, all right? What was behind the scenes with that fight when Tino got shelled by, what's his name, Armando Benitez? Was that him? Whoa.
Armando Benitez, yeah.
Hold on, say that again?
Yeah, Armando Benitez, yeah.
How come I lost you a little bit? Keep talking, I'm just doing a test.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, you're here. Yeah,
it was Armando.
Something about your volume now.
My volume?
Well, now I hear you.
Yeah, I'm all the way up.
Okay. Now I can hear you.
Yeah, so what happened is in '93, we were with Tino and I played together from 1989 all the way through when I went back to Seattle in '01. In 90, I think it was 93 or 90, it might have been 93 or 95, Edgar Martinez hit a grand slam off of Benitez in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So Tino was the next guy up, and Benitez drilled him in the back. So go forward to 98, and I think it was Bernie Williams hit a home run off of Benitez. So Graham Lloyd and I are sitting in the bullpen with our legs up, and I think the game was already out of hand. And I said to Graham, he's going to drill Tino right here. he goes, what do you mean? I said, he's already done it once. And he did it back when we were in Seattle together. And he goes, well, if he does, he said, we're going to charge. I was like, all right. I said, let's go. So as soon as Tino got drilled, Graham and I just ran down the ramp of Old Yankee Stadium out in the bullpen. We opened the doors ourselves. And, luckily everybody else was out there. Everybody was out on the field, both benches empty. And then Graham and I, here we come from the bullpen. And we tried getting them, and we didn't have much success, but we tried getting them.
I watched the video. You had, oh my God, you had a full punch, but you missed him. I was like,
no. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Everybody bobbing and weaving and pushing you. I mean, Graham almost stepped on my feet. We crossed each other, and you can even see in that video, Tino comes out and he goes, "That's the second time. That's the second time it happened."
Here's Tino right here. I think here's the picture. You see, he put his 2 fingers right there to O'Neill. Yeah, and he said that's twice. But
Benitez was throwing in the high 90s, and I mean, this guy, back then it was legit of what they threw up on the scoreboard. He must have drilled him with the 98-mile-an-hour fastball or whatever. Yeah. That hurts. Squared him up right in the back, and that's the second time it happened.
But you see, when both benches came out, but you and Graham were the first ones to throw the punches. You were like,
oh yeah, we wanted him. I mean, because I already knew what he did, and Graham was like, we're going after him. I'm like, all right, let's go.
So after that moment, that 98, was it like, even though you guys had a great start, I mean, you guys were like 29-9 at the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So did that give you even more like being together as a team?
Yeah, there was a feeling that we had every time we stepped in between the lines that we knew we were going to win. And I think it was more of a shock if we got beat. It was like, wow, how'd that happen? All right, well, let's go out and start another streak. Each guy knew what they had to do to help the team win, and I think that was important, whether it was, me coming in the 7th or 8th inning, or Stanton back then, Rivera, the offense, every position player knew what they had to do. And if that guy didn't do it, then it was the next guy up, but we knew, we had such confidence that every time we stepped on the field, we knew we were going to win. And we knew that nobody was going to beat us.
I think that 98 year, nobody hit over 30 home runs.
No, we probably had maybe 10 or 12 guys in double digits. Yeah, I mean, we just had great hitters.
But you had 290 plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the difference. If you think, Eddie, you look back then. Nobody wanted to strike out. Strikeouts were bad. I mean, if you were a hitter and if you were hitting in the 220s and the 230s, you weren't in the big leagues. You didn't see those type of players. You still had guys that hit 275 to 290 and over 300 with 40 bombs, 45 bombs, over 100 RBIs. I mean, they're superstar players. I mean, they're good players. But now you don't see that. Now you see, if somebody's going to hit 40 bombs, they're hitting 220. They're striking out almost 200 times. So, strikeouts were a thing. I mean, you didn't see the shifts. Nobody shifted anybody because nobody was afraid to go the other way. Like, you're going to give me the whole side of the field? Well, I'm going to spray a base hit over there. I'm going to get the runner over. You bunted. You did certain things. And, if you look at back then and how if somebody was in second, they moved them over. They hit it to the right side to move them over to third to get them in the scoring position. You're high-fiving that guy. I mean, they gave themselves up. I mean,
play the game. It's called play the game.
You played the game the right way. You played the game to try to score runs and did whatever you could to try to manufacture runs. We still had the same amount of homers. There were still guys that were hitting the ball out of the ballpark, but those guys were also hitting it in the gap, hitting base hits, maybe dropping a bunt down every now and then. So, it was just it was baseball. And we went on the field that year. That felt like, okay, if you're beating us in the 8th or 9th inning, we're still going to win the game. So, we just felt like we never could lose.
And what was great too, that 98 season, some teams, they get the game-winning hit, a walk-off, and they're all celebrating. You guys didn't even celebrate. You're like, all right, yeah, we know. We expect that.
Right. And that's, it was, we were obviously happy at the time when we celebrated just a little bit, but, we knew, hey, we expect to do this all the time. I mean, if something happens, if we're behind, we expect guys to come through. And then, that carried over. I think that's one of the reasons why we won 3 in a row, is that you just went out on the field. You never were complacent. You went on the field that, hey, if we lose today, we're shocked. And instead of, we're going out and we're going to beat the other team. There's no way that this team in that other dugout is better than us.
And it's crazy because you guys had a shitty September that month of '98.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I know they started, I think when the Dodgers had a real good start, they started comparing them to the '98 Yankees. I think maybe the Astros the same way a couple years ago. But they started going through everything that our '98 team did. I think we were the earliest in history that clinched a playoff spot. I think we might have clinched in August, or if not, it was September 1st or 2nd. Right. I mean, we were doing things that year that no other team has ever done, as far as clinching a spot or doing whatever. I mean, we probably had the whole 30 days of September. We already clinched something. Let's give guys rest or whatever we were doing. I don't even remember the record back then in September.
So in San Diego, you guys party? Where'd you guys go party out there?
Oh. Well, everything closed at 1:00, so we had a get together at Joe Torre put a get together at the hotel. Mm-hmm. So after the game, you're celebrating in the locker room, and everybody's happy again. So then we go back to the hotel. He goes, okay, Joe Torre told everybody, we're going to have a get together. Family, whoever was out there. He rented out maybe the restaurant at the hotel or a ballroom at the hotel. So we did that. So then that was kind of winding down. And by then it was like 12:30, 1:45. So David Wells is from there. So we were saying, hey, where are we going to go? So we went and the gas lamp, whatever that district in San Diego. It's a beautiful area. We start trying to go to different bars, and they already had last call. I'm like, what the hell's going on, man? We just won the World Series. We can't even go out and do anything. So we were already done. About quarter to 1:00. There was no place to go.
Wow. So a guy named Joe Caruso says, Jeff shared a story at fantasy camp that he was told to throw at Griffey and Edgar, and you declined. You said, I'm not doing that. Tell me that story.
Yeah, that was back in '96, and I played in Seattle for the last, 92 to 95. For some reason, Lou didn't like O'Neill. He thought Paul O'Neill should hit more homers. So, when he was with Cincinnati, he goes, O'Neill, all you do is hit base hits. As big as you are and as strong as you are, you should be hitting more homers. And for some reason, he always had O'Neill hit every time we played him. So I think it was this guy, a little lefty that Seattle had. He probably threw 75 miles an hour, wound up hitting O'Neill. Obviously, O'Neill got pissed off, and he's pointing to the dugout. It was late in the game, so the bench is clear. The umpires were on both sides, and I was coming in the game next. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to drill the first guy. And the first guy was Joey Cora. So I smoked him in his back. He knew what was happening. I got thrown out, and Joe Torre got thrown out. And Torre came up to him and he goes, listen, he said, I didn't want Cora hit. I wanted you to hit Griffey or Griffey, Edgar, or Jay. And one of their bigger players. I said, listen, I said, you know what? I said, they're my best friends. I live in Seattle. I hang out with them all the time. I said, out of anybody on that team, those three I'm not throwing at. I said, I'll throw at anybody you want in this whole league, but I'm not throwing at those three guys. I said, they're my best friends. And I just got finished. I just got traded from Seattle to New York. And if I hit them in a spot and I put them out for a long time, then you know what? That's on me, and I feel bad. And if I hit anybody else on that team, I put them out. I don't care. I love Joey Cora. He was a great teammate, and maybe one day he'll make a great manager. But if I hit him in a bad spot and put him out for a couple weeks, wasn't going to bother me.
Right, but he expected all right, one of us is going to get drilled.
Yeah, I think that Seattle knew that somebody was getting hit, and they knew when I was coming in that I was going to do it because I did it on the other side. I protected our players all the time. If I felt, and that was one thing that Lou taught you, that okay, if you think that one of our guys got hit on purpose, you better. I don't want to have to tell you. You better drill the first guy, and you better hit him. And so you already knew, and I think Seattle already knew. So okay, Nelly's coming in, he's drilling the first guy, and the first guy was Joey Cora.
Okay, well, there you have it. As you see, he answered your question. That's a good story. So, 99, you guys just destroyed Atlanta. It was like a joke World Series to me, to be honest. It was too easy for you guys. Right. So then you guys partied at the Plaza again.
Yeah, we did the Plaza again.
Okay, so now 2000. So now here it is. You guys won the World Series at Shea Stadium at the time.
Right.
Where'd you guys go afterwards? Because, I mean, New York was, they all know who you guys are. Yeah. I mean, this is the Subway Series in the World Series. So go ahead.
Well, there was no plaza then. So everybody went different ways. I mean, everybody had small parties somewhere. I wound up hanging out with David Cohn, and we were, I think, at the Marriott Marquis. I had a friend in town. My parents were here, and I had a friend in town. My family wasn't there then. So, you know, it was, I hung out with him. He had a lot of the media members. I think he rented out a suite, the Marriott Marquis, and, you know, just went there. There was other parties in other places. I remember, you know, after we beat the Mariners in ALCS, everybody went to Dorian's there on the Upper East Side. So they gave us the back room, and we had a celebration there. But after the World Series, you know, I think everybody just went their separate ways and had different parties.
Wow, that's so. 96, you guys were together. 98, you were stuck in San Diego with the curfew. 99. Were you guys together in 99 too?
Yeah, 99 we went to the Plaza, and we thought we were going to do that in 2000 as well, but I guess the Plaza was already taken, so there was really no place like for a whole team get-together.
Okay, so now was it heartbreaking for you after 2000? The Yankees said, sorry, Jeff, we're not going to pay you. You're on your own now.
Yeah, you know, they offered me a deal. They offered me a 3-year deal, and I even told my agent, I had other offers out there. I told my agent there was only going to be 2 places that I wanted to go, and that's either back to Seattle or I want to go back or, you know, re-sign with New York. And the Yankees offered me a 3-year deal. It's just that the Mariners offered me a little more money, and I was staying home, and I had a couple kids then. Actually, I had 4 then. So was it a tough decision? In some ways. But, you know, I only wanted to go to 2 places. And, you know, Seattle came to me, and you know, a lot of my ex-teammates like Edgar Martinez and Jay Buhner saying, no, sign here. We're going to have a good team, and, you know, it's going to be fun. Lou wanted me back. So it was like, okay, I'm going to sign here. And, again, a 3-year deal, but a little bit more money. So if the Yankees would have came in at more, then I probably would have been a Yankee in 01.
What was the difference of the $1 million at your time?
It wasn't that. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe between $2 or $3 million or whatever as far as signing me back.
Right. And, you know, here's the thing, Jeff. What some of these ordinary fans, they don't know behind the scenes. I tell these fans, listen, these guys pay taxes in every city they play in. So they're employed. If they go to Seattle, they got to pay Seattle taxes. They go, you know, whatever, St. Louis, Interleague, they got to pay that tax, right? Also, you got agency fee, you got your family, you got monthly rent in New York City. So there's a lot of money coming out.
Right. Oh, exactly. So, you know, not very, I mean, when you get the tax returns around right before April 15th, you're filling out pretty much every single state. You got a whole stack of them, and you better have a good accountant because they're going to come after you if not. But yeah, if you play 6 games in you know, then you had the Angels and you also had the Oakland A's, so you were playing 12 days or 12 games in California. You got taxed on those 12 games.
Yeah. And Jeff, it's hard to make plans during the season, right? Because let's just say, you know, your family and let's say your in-laws are coming in town and it's a day game on a Thursday, and all of a sudden, guess what? You can't go out to dinner because you got another 9 innings of free baseball. Doesn't that, like, the schedule messes you guys up, right?
No, heck yeah. Well, I mean, we only got, 20 days off in the whole time. Then the All-Star break was only 3 days, besides the Yankees and the Red Sox tomorrow. I mean, everybody else gets 4 days now. So, no, you kind of cherished your time off, and most of the time you were spending it on the plane. It was a travel day, you know, or you had a day off on the road. So, yeah, you know, if you went extra innings and, you know, it was tough. It was tough having day games after a long night game and getting up and, you know, getting to the park at 10 o'clock for a 1 o'clock game.
Has it ever happened, Jeff? Now, be honest with me. The night before, let's say you party with the guys on the road or home, and then you're like, oh, shit, man. It's already 4 a.m. Let's say you're in Chicago or in California. Well, California closes at 2. But, and then you got a day game, and you're like, oh, no. Did that ever happen?
Well, because that was the only time that I knew I better stay in. So you might have had some beers or something down the hotel bar, but you knew you had to get up the next day. I don't think with our guys, I don't think anybody did it. I think if you had the night game afterwards, then maybe you would do it. But day games, usually everybody was pretty good about not staying out late.
But you guys, I don't know. Did you ever play for a losing team, Jeff? I don't know. Which team?
92 was terrible, but then you had those years when I had 7 or 8 years I was making the playoffs. And then in 04, I go to Texas. Texas, that wasn't a great team. 05 was a terrible team in Seattle. 06 with the White Sox was a fair team. It wasn't that great in the playoffs.
Here's my question.
Burned out.
Yeah, here's my question. When you were playing with the Yankees, you couldn't wait to get to the park the next day, right? You guys were excited. You're like, oh, hell yeah, this is fun, right?
Oh, winning's fun, yeah, of course.
But are you dragging your ass when you're on the shitty teams?
You still enjoyed coming to the park, but it was a different feeling because, you just didn't have, after being in the playoffs for so long and so many years in a row, and then you're coming to a team that, they're just going through the motions or happy to be there. I mean, I still love playing and doing and traveling and doing what I did, but at the same time, the atmosphere was different. You just had guys that didn't have maybe the winning attitude or maybe you just didn't have that great of a team. It wasn't about winning or losing or having that attitude. You just didn't have the talent to beat the better teams.
I was thinking about this just now. I got a thought. 2001, you weren't on the team. But Mariano Rivera, did he pitch an inning and a half that 2001 World Series?
I'm not sure. I know I was sitting on my living room floor and I was watching it and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. They're going to win 4 in a row. So to be honest, I was kind of happy when the Yankees lost because then I wasn't there. I wasn't there. They just beat me. I was in Seattle and they beat us in the ALCS. I didn't want those guys to win again. I'm like, if I can't be there, why do I want the Yankees to win?
Yeah, you're right. Was it 2000?
I was like, no.
Hold on a minute, Jeff. I mean, shit. I still love you. But anyway, here's the thing. Were you thinking, you know what? If I was on that team, that extra arm, I could have saved Mariano.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, shit.
Maybe it's not for me to think. Maybe it's for other people to think that way. Who knows?
Yeah, and then, so you saw, all right, obviously you wouldn't, and that was one of your best seasons you made the All-Star team that year, right?
Yeah, we won 116 games in Seattle, and we got beaten in the LCS by the Yankees.
And is that when Justice hit that bomb?
Yeah, that was Game 4. I pitched the 7th inning, and we were winning 1-0. And then Arthur Rhodes came in. I think he gave up the home run to Justice. And then maybe it was Soriano. Maybe hit the home run off of Sasaki in the 9th for them to win it. And then I knew it was over. I'm like, all right. At least if we would have won that game, it would have been tied 2-2. And then we were guaranteed to go back to Seattle. I felt bad for the fans in Seattle, and they were so hungry for a winning team. I think I felt bad for Lou Piniella because that was one of those years that he worked so hard as a manager in Seattle, and he said, "Okay, this is going to be the time that I get these guys to the World Series," and it didn't happen. And I felt bad for him, probably more than anything.
Jeff, when the Yankees beat you guys, how many games did it took?
5.
5.
Beat us.
Did you hear the fans say 116 for nothing?
No, I didn't hear that, but I heard a lot of "We want Nelson." I was sitting and I knew I wasn't going to pitch in Game 5. After Game 4, after we lost, then I went out till 6 in the morning. I said, well, we're losing. I've been on the other side. We've closed out teams, and I know we're going to get closed out. Aaron Seeley was on the mound, and he's not I don't think he had a lot of success against New York. And, I just propped my feet up out in the bullpen, watched the whole game, and towards the end, you could hear the fans go, "We want Nelson," and that was, it was pretty special. But at the same time, I know they were like, "Hey, you're going home, and we're going to the World Series. Don't you wish you were a Yankee again?"
Well, you know what? It's like in the movie Godfather. It's not personal; it's business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It could get personal, Jeff. I'm sure it hurt you, right?
Oh, no doubt, because I thought, Seattle's the only team in baseball that's never made it to the World Series. So I thought that, 116, let's try to finish this thing off. That's why if anybody ever said, "Oh, I've been on two of the winningest teams in baseball," obviously '98, you finish it off. I mean, we won the World Series. Seattle, we didn't. I mean, we had a great team. We won 116, but we just didn't win the World Series. Didn't even get there.
But what a career you witnessed, man. You've witnessed 2 perfect games. You got 4 titles. I mean, you can't get better than that.
No, I was blessed playing in the best cities in baseball, especially New York.
And then you came back at 2003, right?
Got traded back in 2003. Yeah, I thought, okay, I disappointed that we got beat by the Marlins. I mean, I don't think they were ever expected to win any of those series that year, and they did. And they beat us in 6. And I still thought that we had a chance to win. I thought, okay, going back to Yankee Stadium, maybe the ghosts or whatever come out of the Monument Park and do something to help us win. I said, okay, we're still going to win in 7. And we got beat. I mean, they were a good team.
But you know what? That Boston series against you guys, oh my God. Yeah. Holy shit, man.
And thank God I was never on a team that the Red Sox beat us to go somewhere.
Right, that's true. Yeah, because 2004 was the jinx year.
Yeah, I was gone, yeah.
Well, you see, I'm going to blame it on you then, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. Every time I leave, the Yankees don't go anywhere. So.
Oh, man.
We should have learned after the 2000 season. I thought I was going to come back in 2004. No, didn't go back. Went to Texas, and there you go. The Red Sox beat them after even being up 3-0.
And Jeff, 2001 with the Mariners, this was without A-Rod and Ken Griffey Jr. that you guys won 116 games?
Yeah, and we had, I don't even think you can name a starting pitcher off of that staff. And we had, we just had a really good offensive team. I mean, Edgar, we didn't, you had Jay, you had Mark McLemore. We had a real, Mike Cameron. We had 8 All-Stars. We had 8 guys that made the All-Star team.
Who was the hardest worker on that Seattle team that come to the park around 1 p.m. for a 7 p.m. game?
Probably nobody did that. Not like they do now. But everybody worked. Everybody was a really hard worker. I mean, that was Ichiro's first year, so that was really something to see. We had him in spring training. Didn't know what kind of player he was going to be. Maybe he was going to be a little overmatched. But then all of a sudden, opening day, this guy was a superstar. He was fun to watch. He worked his butt off.
Mm-hmm. With the Don Zimmer in 2003, you were there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, after that fight, did you hear something in the clubhouse? Like, did Don Zimmer say, I was wrong for charging?
No, I mean, it's funny because Zim had a passion, had a love for his players, and he was protecting his players. And you know what? When you have pitchers pointing at his head and saying, I'm going to hit you in the head, I think everybody takes exception to that. I don't care who you are. I mean, if Pedro Martinez would say, I'm going to drill Posada in the head, or when it was whoever, Kareem Garcia, whatever it was, your coaching staff, I mean, that's what kind of teams we had. I mean, even the coaches were fired up. Even Don Zimmer, I think, was in his 70s then, and he was getting fired up. So we were a little bit shocked at what happened, because I don't think anybody really saw it until the highlights on either that night or the next day.
I feel like, man, I don't think the rivalry is the same like it was then and now. I'm not really pumped when the Yankees are going to play the Red Sox lately.
Well, because the Red Sox are beating the Yankees. That's probably why. I think the way the schedule is, and I think I wish they would go back to a balanced schedule where they're playing everybody the same amount of times and get rid of interleague play. I think when you're going to when you're playing a team in your division 19 times, the rivalry's not there. It's just not there like it used to be. Obviously both teams are very good. There might be more of a rivalry now with Tampa Bay than maybe Boston. But right now the Yankees can't beat either one of them. So it's it's almost watered down now. It's not. It's definitely not the same because you're not. In Boston, we went there twice. They came to us twice, and that was it. So the rivalry was a little bit better, and it was so many. There was games spread out. They're going to see Boston 7 times in the next 2 weeks.
And you know what?
That.
Yeah, Jeff. This will determine the Yankee season right here.
Oh yes, absolutely.
This is it right here. The next 7 games against the Red Sox.
And then they got 3 with the Rays as well. So you got 2 teams that are above you.
Yeah, and if they can't execute, it's a wrap, Jeff. I don't think they're making October, man.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, there's too many. There's too many holes in this lineup right now, too many holes in the pitching staff. And like you mentioned, I don't know what they're going to do, whether they try to add now and try to help themselves out as far as you hear Joey Gallo, do something in that lineup with the left-handed power side to try to help them out in these next 11 to 14 games. I mean, you put Philadelphia in there, and Philadelphia's not a pushover. They have some decent pitching. Their bullpen sucks, but they're not a pushover either. So these next 2 weeks, all the way to July 31st, you're right. They're playing tough teams, and it could make them, break them. And if they don't come out on top, next 16 games, if they're not winning 13 of these games, you might your playoff hopes are probably gone.
Yeah, I mean, even the Blue Jays are right there. They're competitive.
You look at the Yankees every team needs the same amount. Same thing as everybody else. Everybody wants starting pitching. Everybody wants a middle of the lineup guy. Everybody wants a left-handed power hitter. It's just a matter of what team's going to give up what. What is Joey Gallo one of these guys? Because you hear the Padres are interested in as well. I mean, who's going to give up what to try to get him? Maybe you're not going to have to give up a top prospect, but again, same other teams are going to want Joey Gallo just as much as the Yankees.
Well, what I tell people right now, the Red Sox in Tampa, they're not losing. They keep winning.
No, and they're going to get the Red Sox are going to get Chris Sale back. So, that's like getting somebody at the deadline, and they're going to get him back here in the next few weeks. So definitely by August 1st, I'm sure he'll be back if he doesn't have a setback. So that's adding another top-of-the-line starter to that rotation. And, they already have a great lineup. And we talked about small ball. I think Alex Cora does a great job over there as far as that small ball mentality, as far as moving guys over, high-fiving, doing the little things to try to manufacture runs. Usually managers really don't make a huge difference in a game. I think for the most part they do, but a lot of times not really. And you could see what Alex Cora has done with that team. I mean, I think he's made a huge difference with the Red Sox.
Yeah, a huge difference. And you know what? Sometimes I say to myself, look at the Red Sox, man. 2 out hits, just hit a single somewhere, drive that runner in. But the Yankees mentality, let's do guerrilla baseball.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty much around the league do guerrilla baseball, and it's not fun to watch. It's definitely not fun to watch. I mean, I don't like seeing guys swing as hard as they can on every single pitch.
I mean, look, the first 2 strikes, I could see you swinging out of your ass. All right, I get that part.
Well, I mean, you can it all depends.
If it's right there. If it's right there.
Yeah, I guess, but at the same time, you're playing situational baseball. I mean, what are you doing? If you're a power hitter, you're not bunting. I mean, the power hitters aren't going to bunt. But, you're putting a good swing. I think the launch angle stuff has really hurt the game as well, as like keeping all this launch angle stuff. They're missing balls by a foot because they're trying to get the ball in the air. I just see guys, okay, if you want 3-0, you want to swing hard, 3-0, 3-1, and the hitters count, go ahead. Okay, because then you could drive the ball somewhere. Maybe you can drive the ball out of the ballpark. But you're making those same swings at 1-2, 0-2, you got no shot. You have no shot of hitting the ball.
Chasing pitches, playing cricket, I'm like, God, it just bothers me so much. Jeff, you're a family man, right? You have 4 daughters, right? But I want to know this. When your daughters started dating, and they introduce you to their boyfriends, right? Do you give them that look like, you break my daughter's heart, I'm going to break your head? I mean, as a father.
As a big hunter, I'd take them into the room and then show them where the heads are, and I'd say, there's one head for, don't be that guy on the wall. My daughter says, don't be that one empty space on that wall next to the animals.
Yeah, okay, all right. So you give them that look like, yeah, buddy. All right, I'm just making sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because I talked to Sean Green. He was on my show, and he has 2 daughters. So I'm like, Sean, you give them that look when they you meet the boyfriend for the first time. I was like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and now, Jeff, what are you doing now exactly? Because people see you in some networks, and then they see you on TV, then they don't. What are you doing right now?
Well, I still do. This is my 6th season with the Marlins, so I do TV with them. Mm-hmm. I do about 45 games this year, and then I do some things with the Yankees as well. I did Yes Network a couple years ago, but now with the pandemic, they're starting to, last year was a 60-game schedule. This year they're starting to try to make up for everything they lost last year. So maybe towards the end, but I enjoyed working with them. And, now that appearances are back at Yankee Stadium. You know, I'm starting to go back and do some food appearances. Yankees always keep you involved, so you know, those type of things are what I do.
And
I also have a podcast, and it's called.
That's right. Tell us. I was about to tell you.
I had to plug that, and I do that for the New York Post on Mondays and Thursdays.
You got good guests. I saw your Instagram. I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I didn't think I was going to have to get all these guests. I was like, okay, somebody's got to help me out, and you're going to come on, and I hope you come on. And
you can have me anytime, baby.
All right.
Yeah, and listen. Let me ask you this, Jeff. How'd you meet this beauty queen? Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I've known her for about 10 years, and you know, she's met her here in New York. She's a great girl, and you know, we love to be together, and obviously we had a great time at the Yankee game.
Okay, and then how many appearances do you make at Yankee Stadium a year on the average? Because I saw you last, what was it, Friday night?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, no, I don't know how many I'll be able to get in this year, but usually probably, about 15 to 20.
Oh, wow.
Occasions. Yeah, and then you're up here for old timers, or you'll hit a game just occasionally just to go as a fan.
Right. Yeah, because when I saw you last Friday, I'm like, how do you not recognize this guy? This guy's like a giraffe compared to me.
Yeah.
I'm like this. What's up, Jeff?
Yeah, hard to hide.
But they, all the old-time Yankees, they recognize you. I mean, sorry, all the old-time fans, like around my age.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you walk around Yankee Stadium, like I said, it's pretty hard to hide.
All right, so now how'd you get the gig with Miami? That's the thing. What, did Mattingly put a good word for you, something like that?
No, well, it was about 6 years ago, I wanted to get with a team. I always wanted to do something with the Yankees, but nothing ever really opened up. And I met David Sampson. He was the president then when Luria was the owner, and they were doing some different things with their broadcast team, and said, hey, just give this guy a call and let's see what we can do. And I started maybe about 10 or 12 games for the first year, and it started increasing. There was a time that I was doing maybe 100, 120, and then now they have a few more guys that kind of limited us to about 45, which is fine. I mean, I enjoy it. Keeps you in the game. You got to wear a suit. That's about the only downfall. But other than that, you work with some great guys.
Okay, so what kind of suit do you wear? Give me some design.
I don't know. Anything that fits me. I have long arms, so you got to have the long one. I don't care. It doesn't matter what kind of suit.
Well, hold on a minute. I wear my Canali when I go out, my man.
There you go. I have a Canali. I have some, Hugo Boss or whatever. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Since I'll watch some Marlins game and I'm going to text you and say, no, buddy, that's not the suit that you should be wearing, all right? Because it better fit you well.
Well, now we don't have to wear ties, man. I had all these great ties to go along with it. Now, ties are out. Nobody's wearing ties anymore very often.
So I'm assuming you're living in Florida right now?
Yeah, I'm in New York. We have an apartment in New York City, and then I live in Florida as well.
And in the Miami area, is that where you live?
No, North Palm Beach. So about an hour and a half north.
That's where I played college baseball, Palm Beach Atlantic University.
Nice. Oh, yeah, definitely. I know that well.
Back in the days, yeah, North Palm Beach is nice, man. I lived the life down there for 5 years.
Oh, you were out on the island, so it was good. Yeah, I wasn't. That's a rich area down there.
Well, that's true. I'm right before the Palm Beach. Officially it's West. It's like Flagler downtown. Yeah. Well, listen, Jeff. It's been. I'm so happy that I ran into you. And
thanks, Eddie. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Fun. So you could catch Wilson. You catch Jeff Nelson, Yankee games. You catch him with Marlins, and then hopefully with the Yes Network, right? A little bit more.
Maybe. We will see.
Well, I'm gonna call Woody Fryman. I'm like, listen.
There you go. Put in a good word.
I'm gonna go like this. If you don't do the right thing, we're going to have to put a horse around your bed, All right, let me end this, but don't go anywhere, Jeff, all right? Thank you so much for this. Hold on a minute. Finish.